Out-of-work youths are selling their toes to get rich. No more Elvis-themed weddings in Las Vegas. And Metaverse murders might be punishable as real crimes, at least in one country. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian in Los Angeles in a closet. I'm Jonesy. I have 3 weird news segments from around the world. Let's get busy. Out-of-work youths in Zimbabwe are selling their toes in order to get rich quick. Suspected South African Sengomas are allegedly offering high payouts for the toes of unemployed Harare youths. Harare is the big city in Zimbabwe with a population of about 2 million. Just in case you're wondering about Zimbabwe, I'm trying to teach you some news here, among other things. You're curious about why would you sell your toes? I didn't know I could get rich selling my toes. I didn't either. The issue of the selling of toes to get rich is currently trending on social media, with some people showing off the fruits of cutting their toes. Now, I'm pretty much on social media, but I never saw this trend. Seems like a TikTok challenge gone wrong. Although a lot of these TikTok challenges, people do dumb shit for no money. At least with this one, cut off your toes. You get paid for it. People on social media blame the situation on government, which has failed to create an environment for job creation, leading to the citizens resorting to desperate means. Oh, sure, blame the government. Don't blame the youth for making a poor decision. There's a long list of things that I would do if I was desperate for money. Do you know where cut off my own toes and sell them is? It's quite far down. There's a lot of other shit that I would do before I cut off my toes and sold them. I think we need to, blame personal responsibility here as well as just the government not creating jobs. We've had some pretty bad job situations in the U.S. Never did I see any of my neighbors cut off their toes and sell them on TikTok. How much is a toe worth? You're wondering? What can you get for selling your toes? Well, I found a website. It's all about toe injury compensation. It's from a lawyer. The 2022 value of a big toe, it says here, is $15,000. Are they getting that much in Zimbabwe? According to the article I'm looking at, the toes are being bought at $20,000 to $40,000. I don't know if this is a real story. How do you get this much for toes? What's happening to the toes? What does someone do with severed toes? Put it on your salad like a crouton? Is this some vampire-related activity? I got so many questions not being answered. Anybody in Zimbabwe can corroborate all this? It says here, this is a topic that's been trending on social media platforms. Selling their toes for, it's what's called ritual money. I'm not sure what that means. The toes are being used in some sort of ritual, perhaps? What motivates these people to sell their toes is, surprisingly, many of them want to buy a Toyota GD6 truck, which has an estimated price of about $25,000 to $70,000. This Toyota GD6 truck, wow. Well, how great is it if you sell all your toes? And how do you even operate a truck without toes? I guess you could use a nub to press on the pedals. That's not the best way to operate a Toyota GD6 truck, though. You really want all your toes to get the full performance of your Toyota truck. Just poking on the pedals with a nub is not the best way to do it. That's just my opinion. I don't have a lot of experience driving a Toyota GD6 truck with no toes. All right, I've taken this to an odd place. Let me just say this about it, then. Sometimes you find yourself in a position where you need money badly. There's a lot of things you can do for money. Don't start cutting off body parts, guys. Start a podcast in a very hot closet. That's what I recommend. Come on, man. Do you guys want to make upwards of $150 a month? Come on now. Get in a closet. I got some bad news coming out of Las Vegas. No more Elvis-themed weddings thanks to a licensing crackdown. How sad. Las Vegas chapels of love that use Elvis Presley lookalikes could find themselves becoming truly heartbreak hotels. Get it, huh? Heartbreak Hotels. Oh, get so lonely, baby. The licensing company that controls the name and image of Elvis, also known as the King, is ordering Sin City Chapel operators to stop using Elvis in their themed wedding ceremonies. This is according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Authentic Brand Group sent cease and desist letters last month to multiple chapels in Vegas, which are expected to be compliant by now. They're expected to not do these Elvis-themed wedding ceremonies. And consequently, with Elvis so closely tied to Las Vegas weddings, some say this move could totally decimate the wedding industry in Las Vegas. Here's a quote from Kayla Collins, who operates Las Vegas Elvis Wedding Chapel.com, and she operates the Little Chapel of Hearts with her husband. We are a family-run business, and now we're hanging with the big dogs. That's our bread and butter. I don't get it. We were just hitting our stride again through COVID. Then this has to happen. Now, Clark County Clerk Lynn Goya, who led a marketing campaign promoting Las Vegas as a wedding destination, said the order for these chapels to cease using Elvis couldn't come at a worse time for this business sector. The city's wedding industry generates about $2 billion a year. Did you know that? A lot of fools going to Vegas to get married and then get divorced 2 months later. It's a very strange business. And then getting married by an Elvis impersonator, even stranger. I'm not against it, though. It seems, though, kind of unoriginal to me at this point. If I'm going to get married by any impersonator, I want it to be someone like, I don't know, how about Rodney Dangerfield? That would be hilarious, to be married by a Rodney Dangerfield impersonator. Jonesy, who's Rodney Dangerfield? Come on, kids, get with it. Learn your comedy history, all right? Anyways, $2 billion a year for these weddings in Vegas. Elvis themes represent a significant number of these ceremonies performed, apparently. Here's a quote from this lady, Goya. It might destroy a portion of our wedding industry. A number of people might lose their livelihood. One chapel in Vegas last weekend had its Elvis impersonator change instead into a leather jacket, jeans, and a fedora for just a simple rock and roll theme ceremony. Just what's the themes of this wedding? It's just some general rock and roll. We don't really have anything on it. Are you supposed to be Bon Jovi? I'm whoever you want me to be. How about that? Do you take this person or not? Now we have this business called Graceland Wedding Chapel, which is pretty popular. They perform about 6,000 plus Elvis-themed weddings each year. They have not been served a warning yet, according to the manager, Rod. And then there's no quote by Rod. We can imagine what Rod thinks of this, though. Now, Authentic Brands Group did not immediately respond to a request for comment for this particular story. This licensing company oversees the estates of big names like movie star Marilyn Monroe and the boxer Muhammad Ali and 50 consumer brands. Well, this person just owns the images of these dead people? Is that the business they're in? Seems awfully strange. In the cease and desist letter that was sent to all these Elvis wedding chapels, the company said it will halt unauthorized use of Elvis Presley's name, likeness, voice image, and other elements of Elvis Presley's persona in advertisements, merchandise, and otherwise. The letter also said Elvis, or Elvis Presley, and the King of Rock and Roll, all of those titles are protected trademarks. However, this order does not translate into the Elvis-themed stage shows that are in Las Vegas. All Shook Up, for instance, is a popular Elvis-themed stage show. And it doesn't translate into that industry because impersonating someone for a live performance like a show is considered an exception under Nevada's right of publicity law. Okay. But it seems to me like these Elvis-themed ceremonies are also a form of performance. It's kind of a show, right? I mean, yeah, it's a wedding, but come on, man. Really? Like, no one's taking these weddings that seriously. It's for fun and games, right? And then you get married on the Friday by Elvis, and then you get divorced on Sunday. And you get some good selfies out of it, some funny TikToks. You know how it works, guys. It says here, an Elvis show is a performer essentially entertaining others by recreating that person on stage, and that's why it's not covered. But the Elvis weddings apparently aren't performances, they're saying. They're trying to protect the Elvis brand. I think some people are going to be very upset about this. People are going to be losing their jobs because of this. There's going to be too many Elvis impersonators in Vegas now without any work whatsoever. May I make a suggestion for those Elvis impersonators that are currently out of work or about to be? I would say pivot and become a Ray Liotta impersonator. Ray Liotta just passed away. So sad. Ray Liotta was a beloved individual in our entertainment world, and I think we need a lot of Ray Liotta impersonators out there. I think there's a business for that. I loved Ray Liotta very much. Mainstream news got you stressed? Or maybe you live in Florida. Life can be overwhelming, and stressful symptoms can include lack of motivation, feeling helpless, fatigued, or detached. Overall, maybe you're just burned out. Well, in those times, it's important to talk with a professional that can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and live chat sessions with a professional therapist. It's more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Weird AF News listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/weirdaf. That's betterhelp.com/weirdaf. Good luck with your health. Good luck with your life, man. Murders that occur in the metaverse will be punished as real-life crimes, according to the Minister of the United Arab Emirates. The virtual world of the metaverse, you're familiar with this place. I've talked about it on the show before. Some of you are straight-up nerds, and you're hanging out in the metaverse, trying to make friends and get laid. I don't know if you can get laid in the metaverse, but people are trying. The virtual world of the metaverse has already dealt with its fair share of sexual harassment and thievery. I've talked about that on the show. What happens when metaverse murders become the next big crime, though? And what does that even mean in the big picture? Well, according to the United Arab Emirates, metaverse murders are at the top of their list of issues currently. Despite not being possible in most of the established metaverse platforms of today, the virtual crime of killing another human may end up being punishable in real life. The UAE has a minister named Omar Sultan Al Olama, which is just an amazing name. Omar Sultan Al Olama. He told the World Economic Forum that the digital crime should be punished. The Sultan said that all, quote, serious crimes committed virtually should be physically punished, including killing. Here's how he explained it. If I send you a text on WhatsApp, it's text, right? It might terrorize you, but to a certain degree, it will not create the memories that you will have PTSD from this text. But if I come into the metaverse, this virtual reality, and it's a realistic world that we're talking about in the future, and I actually murder you in this world and you see it, it actually takes you to a certain extreme where you need to enforce aggressively across the world because everyone agrees that certain things are unacceptable. That's the quote. I'm kind of confused by it. Can you guys figure that out? It doesn't sound convincing to me, comparing it to a text message. Some of the minister's views may be reasonable, they're saying in this article. For example, online harassment and sexual harassment can be identical to in-person harassment. Correct, yes. I agree with that. There is a thing as cyberbullying, and we've seen the fallout of that. Youths have committed suicide over it. It's a serious issue. It says here, additionally, virtually stealing something is exactly the same as stealing something, as long as it's not a game where the entire purpose is to steal, so that should carry consequence. However, he is also out of his mind, someone says, about the Sultan. The article goes on to say, the Sultan's wish for metaverse murders to be punishable as if they were real comes from a massive misinterpretation of what the virtual world is. While companies like Meta want people to live and work in the metaverse, they wouldn't be able to actually kill each other in that world. It's not Sword Art Online, which is, I assume, a violent video game or violent anime. Essentially, the Sultan wants to punish people for killing people in video games, is what they're saying. A place where death results in a respawn. Should you be punished for playing Call of Duty? This article says no, of course not, and I agree. I played those first-person shooter games. They're very, very good. It also says here, on the other hand, this isn't entirely to blame on the Sultan. The minister's misunderstanding of the metaverse comes down to how loosely defined this virtual world is. While one day it may be a huge Ready Player One platform that governs everything, it's certainly just a VR social platform at the end of the day, and we need to remember that. Now, I admit I've never really hung out in the metaverse. I don't know how all of this works. I would imagine you have an avatar that is not able to be killed off by another avatar in the metaverse. How does that even work? And apparently they're saying even if it does, it could be respawned, such as in a video game. So in that sense, you get your avatar back. You're not really murdered. I don't think this is really necessary. Not to say that there aren't punishable offenses going on in the metaverse. We all know that. That is absolutely true. And digital currencies probably can be stolen in such a way. You have to be careful. You have to protect yourself. We're at the very beginning stages of all of this, and we're just trying to suss it out at this point. So there's a lot that's up in the air, but I think we'll get it straight eventually. We're going to have to, because everybody seems to want to live in the metaverse, and I don't blame them. The real world sucks. It sucks, BALLS. And hence why I do Weird AF News every day, so you can forget the real world and experience some joy. You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. Thank you for being with me for another episode of Weird AF News. I appreciate your time. I try to keep this brief because I respect your time. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow is Friday. If you want to send me any Florida Friday stories, I would love that. Any weird news from Florida from the past week, that's extremely helpful. We'll try and do the best Florida Friday episode we can tomorrow, okay? It takes all of us, all right? You can email me at funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can DM me at funnyjones on Instagram. Tag me at funnyjones on Twitter as well. Go to weirdafnews.com. You can submit articles that way as well. Got some YouTube comments over the past couple weeks that I forget to read. Yes, the podcast is on YouTube as well, in case you're wondering. Eric Krause responded to the article I did about baby formula. Eric wrote, I work at Walmart, Jonesy. There was no recall on the formula. They're just trying to make life even harder and create malnourished people in the future. Which is pretty bleak and a little conspiratorial for me, but all right. Express yourself, man. Let me know how you feel. I'm open to any new point of view. We have Goth and Dogs wrote me about the last Big Mac in Russia. That was a story I did a few weeks ago. The reply is, 3 Russian rubles is 4 pence in England, Jonesy. A Big Mac was never that cheap here. Not surprised McDonald's is leaving, though. I'm sure other non-Russian companies will follow suit. Yes, and they have in the subsequent weeks, for dang sure. I have here a comment from YouTube user Della Duck Lover, who just wrote, hey, I never knew this was a YouTube channel. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's right. It's a YouTube channel. You guys can find it on YouTube by doing a search for Weird AF News or just youtube.com/Weird AF News. Pretty easy. Okay, let's do one more. Helium Xenon Krypton commented on a video. The episode was the threesome with a sex robot. Helium wrote, Jonesy, I would prefer sex with a robot over a human. I've been to Walmart, which is hilarious. A hilarious comment. Helium, very funny. I appreciate that. Please keep the comments coming. That one really made me laugh. If I ever make enough money to hire a writer, Helium, I'm coming for you. Yeah, so if you guys are listening on YouTube, I love the comments. Please subscribe to that channel if you can. And I apologize. For those of you who get the podcast on YouTube, some of the episodes are uploaded late. I don't upload them all at the same day. If you want to get them same day, you got to subscribe to the audio podcast. That's the one I'm really on top of. So you can find Weird AF News on any audio podcast player, including any of your smart speakers. You can tell any smart speaker to play the Weird AF News podcast, and you'll get it. And don't forget to subscribe. If you would like to support the show by joining the Patreon, which is pretty cool, I'm going to put some new materials in the Patreon today, as a matter of fact, right before I watch my Celtics play game 1 of the finals. Yeah! Patreon.com/WeirdAFNews is where you want to go, or download the Patreon app and just do a little search for Weird AF News. You'll find it right in there, and join the club. It's a nice little club of very supportive and very quality fans of the show, and I love every one of them. And If you can't afford to support the show in that manner, I totally get it. I realize what the cost of living is currently. I'm no dummy. I'm experiencing the squeeze myself. If you could just tell a friend or anybody that you happen to be talking to about podcasts, about the show, maybe recommend it. I would appreciate that. It doesn't cost anything but your time. I thank you so much, and I can't wait. Tomorrow, I'll see you for Florida Friday. All right, baby.